uno and start factoring one fraction, factor the other fraction, and then multiply them together. Okay, so here we go. I have one fraction, multiply the other fraction. Okay, I'm looking at x squared minus 4, and again, I can't tell you how important these flow charts are, right? Follow the flow charts. Can I factor out any common terms? Well, I'm looking at x squared minus 4, and no, there are no common terms. So then I have to decide what type of polynomial do I have. Well, I have two terms because it's separated by a plus or minus sign, right? So I have two terms, and I'm looking at the exponent for my x, and it's a squared. So I'm going to look at, is 4 a perfect square? Yes, it is. Now there's two. Yes. Now there's two places you can look. It's on the chart here. Perfect squares. I got them right there, right? 4 is in there. Or your handy dandy little pink chart, right? Look at squares. 4 is a perfect square. It's 2 squared. So you can either rewrite this, or by now you should have this in your brain repertoire, right? You could go ahead and say, hey, A is the base x and B is the base 2, because this is 2 squared, is a base 2. And just follow your formula, right? It's going to be A plus B, A minus B. So I have x plus 2 and x minus 2, like Keith said. You do that for every numerator and denominator. Okay. Bottom one, x squared minus 1. Again, it's a binomial. In fact, it's almost the same as this, except we don't have 4, we have 1. And 1 is a perfect square. 1 times 1 is perfect square. 1 times 1 times 1 is a perfect cube. So 1 is always going to be the base here. X plus 1 and x minus 1. So I got the first fraction, and that's what we did the day before, was just factoring and simplifying fractions, right? We're going to do the other one here. Well, I have x plus, by the way, don't make the mistake of starting canceling out first. You have to factor first. If you have a tendency to do that, go ahead and put parentheses before you even start the problem, okay? So I'm looking at the numerator of the second fraction, and I have x plus 1. Nothing to do there. It's factored as far as it's going to go. Looking at the denominator, can I factor out any common factors? Step 1. Yeah, I can take out an x. X squared divided by x is x. 2x divided by x is 2. This was the new part that some of you missed yesterday. Multiplying together. Well, all we're going to do, remember I showed you guys, we cancel out first, then multiply across. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to cancel out the x plus 2. Let's see, what else can I cancel? Oh, x plus 1, x plus 1. They don't have to be in different fractions. It can be in the same fractions as long as one's in the numerator, one's in the denominator, right? Looks like that's all we got, right? So in my numerator, I'm left with x minus 2. Please put parentheses around them. And then x times x minus 1. Okay. You cannot cancel outside the parentheses. If I have one outside the parentheses and one inside, you can't cancel them out.
So that's our answer.
Yeah. So the only new part that you guys missed yesterday was this canceling out and then multiply across. All right. Then we did some division problems, and I got a real wonderful video for you guys for that.
thought we did part two.
That was part 3, and this is part 4, division.
Oh.
Well, remember what you guys did back in elementary school when you divided fractions? What did you do?
Divide.
You flipped, change it to multiplication, right? Okay, so let's look at number 22 here. Okay, so I'm going to still have a fraction times a fraction. I'm just going to flip that second fraction, right? Okay, so the first one stays as is. Let's see, can I factor out any common factors? Yeah, I could factor out a 6, right? And I have 6x divided by 6 is x plus y. Good. How about the denominator? Can I factor that out? No. We're good there. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip and factor in the same step. Okay. So for my numerator, I'm going to have the denominator, right? I can take out a 5, and I get x minus y. And then my numerator, nothing I can do to factor out there, becomes my denominator, right? Everybody okay with that? That I did 2 steps at once? Okay, then I'm going to go out here and see what I can cancel out. So 6 goes into 18 3 times. We're pretty close here, right? We've got x plus y, but a y minus x. Remember I showed you this trick a couple days ago? I can factor out a -1 and change the signs of these so I get a positive x and a negative y, right?
Wait, how did you get that?
I took out a -1. I factored out a -1. In other words, I'm taking a -1 out of y and x. Y divided by -1 is negative y. Negative x divided by -1 is positive x. Okay? Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Suppose I had 3 minus 5. Okay? I can factor out anything I want, right? So I'm going to factor out a -1. Well, what's 3 divided by -1? -3. And I'm going to put it over here.
Oh,
Okay?
now I understand.
And what's -5
Yep, I understand
is,
now.
there you go. See, that's all I did. So instead of having it this way, I made it that way. But by doing that, that allows me to cancel out x minus y. Okay? So my problem ends up being my answer 5 times the quantity x minus y. I'm sorry, x plus y. Over, now I have a -1, I have to multiply it by the 3, so it's -3. Okay? And wow, 32 and 34 look kind of busy. 34 is actually looks harder. So let's do 34. Okay. So it's a division problem, which means, you know what, I'm going to put it over here. Which means I'm going to keep the same fraction for the first one, change it to multiply, flip the second one, right? So this one needs to be flipped. Okay, so the first one, I have to factor x squared minus x minus 2. Now, do you guys believe me when I told you needed factoring skills? Okay. So Nothing I can factor out, so I'm going to use guess and check. X times X. Factors of 2. Well, there's only one pair, right? 1 and 2.
So the one is going to be positive, two negative.
Excellent. Because they have to add up to a negative 1. Let's look at the bottom here. Now we're it's getting a little tricky because we have 2 for a coefficient of x squared. Well, this is going to be a little trickier. Okay, but it is a prime number. There's going to be a 2x times x. Now we have a choice. Well, first let's look at the sign. It's a positive 2, so it's going to be a positive times positive or a negative times negative. They have to add up to a negative, so at least I can put down the negatives. Okay, now I have to decide, well, does the 2 go here and the 1 there? Because now one of them is going to be multiplied by 2. Or do I put the 1 there and the 2 there? Yeah, it looks like, because they're going to have to add up to 5, I need that 4 and 1, right? So I'm going to put the 2 here and the 1 there to get my 4x, right? And my 1x to get 5x. These are both negative. Okay. So I'm good there. Going to go to my second fraction now. If you want to keep the division symbol there and factor first, then flip it, that's fine. This is one of those things where I can do 2 steps pretty easy. I'm going to take my denominator. It's going to be in the numerator. I'm going to take my denominator, put it in the numerator, and factor it at the same time. Okay. Again, I got my 2x times x. I got a prime number at least, right? So it's definitely 1 and 3. I'm not sure if the 3 is going to go there in the 1 or the 3 here and the 1 there. Not sure. In fact, I'm not even sure of the sign because one's positive, one's negative. So I'm just going to have to just start guessing and checking here. All I know is I'm going to be subtracting these. So if I put the 3 here and the 1 here, let's see, 3x and 2x is not going to subtract to 5x. So let's try them the different way. 1 there, 3 there. So I get 1x. Then I get my 6x. And if I subtract those, I get 5x.
3 is going to be positive. Positive.
Yeah, we need the bigger one to be positive. So here we go. Good, Aiden. All right. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to erase this so I can get my denominator in there, right? So my denominator, well, at least we got a 1 coefficient for x squared. Let's see, I got an x times x. Different signs. Now, the signs I can put in here. One's positive, one's negative, because my coefficient for x squared is 1. Here, I couldn't do that because I had a coefficient of 2. Okay, I'm going to still get rid of this because it annoys me.
Does the order really matter for the bottom one?
No, you could put the plus there and the minus there. Yeah, it does. Order does not matter. So it's combination, right? All right, factors of 12. Remember, we're going to be subtracting them. 1 and 12. 2 and 6. 3 and 4. If we subtract 3 and 4, we're going to get a 1. So it's definitely 3 and 4. We want the bigger one to be negative because we want a negative 1. And there we go. Now we can start crossing out, right? Oh, here's an x minus 2. X minus 2. Is that it? Oh, no, we got an x plus 3.
2x.
Oh, yeah. I missed that guy.
So it's going to be x plus 1 over x minus 4.
Good.
And I think that's the answer.
Yep. So, if you missed yesterday, we really didn't learn any new concepts other than canceling out and putting down what's
I
left.
feel like you could have waited to teach this lesson.
I'm sorry. I'll wait. Next time I'll wait. Lesson learned. Okay.
How about you, man?
I don't think there's gonna be this.
But don't
I'm
forget,
sorry.
I do take time to put at least the video on Google Classroom, right? Right. I mean, I think at some point you guys have to be responsible for doing that. If you miss a day of school, you're responsible for
It
it.
was a mandatory thing,
And
though.
that's the exact reason why.
It was
I
a
don't
mandatory
miss
thing.
school.
Right. There you go. That's the quote of the year. That's the quote of the year.
Don't miss school and you don't have to worry.
That might be the best quote I ever heard coming out of a student's mouth.
You want me to put it on paper and sign it?
Yeah. I might have to have you sign something, Keith.
It was a mandatory thing.
The quote was, "That's why I never miss a day of school."
But if you can't help it, then
Exactly. If you really can't help it, obviously,